One. Start.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Civilsdaily IAS. Good morning. This is 5th of January 2024. I am your host, Venus Avtani. And today we'll be discussing some very important news out of both the Hindu as well as Indian Express. Because time is very precious, people. So that is why we have selected the most important news and we'll discuss them in detail for your exam purposes. Before that, just tell me in the comment section, am I streaming live? Am I streaming fine? Is my voice audible to you all? And if there are any doubts from yesterday's analysis to you, yesterday's news streaks, any issues, people, you can just write in the comment boxes or at least say hello or good morning. So let's look at the first important news for today. This is about Aditya L1 mission. Now, Aditya, we all know that it is sun, but this has been cropping up in news again and again. Why this has been cropping up? Because this is about India's first space mission towards the sun. That means for the first time, India will be having a space mission towards the sun. Before that, European Union already had Soho here. NASA had already sent its Parker probe, but India's mission is quite unique. Why? Because you might be already aware, people, Suzandra, you might be already aware that India's space mission, particularly ISRO's mission, they are very cost effective. At a cheaper level, we try to send the best, take out the maximum efficiency here. So that's our forte. And here also it is feasibly like why it is observable here, because you can understand that look, Parker probe will go into the sun and will destroy itself, will go near the surface of the sun. But here we don't need to send a satellite, we don't need to send a mission just into the sun. We can also analyze it starting from standing at some stable places, and that's our objective, people. So are you able to understand, people? Have you heard of these points L1, L2, L3, L4 or L5? What are these points? Aditya L1 will be going at Lagrange point 1, and that is why we called it as Lagrange point. So that's why there is this L1. But what is the significance of it? Because as you can understand, there are some basic laws in physics which are applicable everywhere, like literally everywhere. And that's why there is this basic law that to every force there is an equal and opposite force applied. Newton's law of motion, simple. So that is why whenever you go into space and there is some gravity here, so because of the sun, there will be gravity. If you go near any body, there will be gravitational force applied to you. To it there will be some counter force also. And because everybody, literally everybody, has its own gravity, be it any body having mass. So that is why when you are standing between the 2 points, let's suppose here and then here. So when you are standing between these 2 points, no, you'll always face a force from both the sides. Like there are two players pulling you, capturing both of your hands, one from here, and they are pulling you apart. This is the story, people. So what happens? You have, like here, this is a bigger body at a distance which is greater than this distance. You will have to face gravity. So there will be force of gravity here. And likewise from the earth also, you will face little bit gravity here. But because the distance here is more with regards to L1, look, the distance is more compared to from earth. So what will happen? Somehow this will balance at this point. And that is why when you go at this point, this will remain stable, people. Are you able to understand it? What we are trying to say, Cezanne? Are we clear here? That there are these 5 points where the gravity is balancing, and when it is balancing, what will happen? We can stand at these points. We can look at the sun also. We can look at the earth also. Likewise, the same story happens at L2. Likewise, the same story happens at Lagrange point 3 and also at L4 and L5. Particularly at L4 and L5, the force is more of diagonal in nature. And because if you slightly, even if you slightly have your satellite moved from L1 in the direction, in this direction or this direction, at least there will be some, act of balancing. But what will happen if you try to have this same at L4, even if you try to rotate a little bit, that will clearly go off the orbit. So these was the Lagrange point people. Aditya will go at L1. But now here, what we need to understand here, what does Aditya L1 consist of? And why do we want to observe the sun from L1 point? What is the reason? That's the question we should answer here, people. So, are you aware about the objectives, people? What is our objective? Why do we want to go towards L1 and why do we want to observe it? Till then, just look at this. This is an image of ISRO itself. This is about the various payloads here. Like there is SOOT, there is VELC, there is Helios, there is SOLEX, there is PAPA, there is magnetometer. So all of these are payloads. Look at them. We'll just try to understand the rough functioning of all of them through the help of some concepts. So that we'll try to do, and some of that I have already explained it to you. So that we'll try to attempt at. Just look at this. This is VELC, this is SOOT, this is SOLEX, this is Helios. So if we go at L1 by some maneuvering, what is happening right now? We are trying to maneuver it. Like there is this L1 now, because at L1 there is already the solar observatory of Europe, Soho. So that's why at L1 we'll have a halo orbit, and to move into that halo orbit, we require critical maneuvering so that we don't lose the path here. You can sit around L1, you can sit at exact L1 point, or you can also have a halo orbit around it. When we have a halo orbit, that means there's a point here, there's no mass as such, no, such a planetary body like sun, moon, earth. Still you have orbit around a certain point to stay stable, because even if you are in orbit around this point, you will stay stable. So this is our objective, that we are having this stable point here, and then we are observing the sun from here. But here I want you to answer, people. Nobody has answered why. What is the objective of Adit? Why do we want to observe the sun? Have you heard about sun's corona? What is sun's corona, people? What is the corona of the sun? Compare it to coronavirus, COVID. What you can understand by the corona of the sun, people? Any such answers here? Do have an interaction session. So let's look at the payloads here. Look, so these four payloads will look at the sun, but these three are for other purposes. Now, what is there? In my first news streak, I have already told about the electromagnetic spectrum, people. Let's revise it faster. What was electromagnetic spectrum? What were electromagnetic waves, people? That is why I had told at that point of time to remember it, to remember spectrum, because that will help you in every other such analysis of any space mission. That will help you understand the objective, people. So I had told a trick here. You can watch it also. Otherwise, also, I'll tell again. So this is your electromagnetic spectrum, people. Rami Baksika. Simple. Radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible waves, ultraviolet waves, X-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays. Yes, one of the objectives is to analyze the light coming out from the sun. But why do we want to analyze it? Why do we want to analyze the light coming off the sun? Does the light coming out of the sun varies, people? क्या ये लाइट वेरी करती है? क्या इसका अमाउंट वेरी करता है? Have you heard about sunspots or anything called Milankovic cycles in your geography NCRTs related to Earth and universe, people? Have you heard about these terms? This is all related here, and we'll come to all of that. How do we explain it? Firstly, so we have all these waves. Look, as I had explained in the first lecture, the energy moving from here to here, it increases, our frequency increases, the waves, they become like this rather than this. So what happens here? We have high energy particles here, and out of them we want to analyze some of them, like through visible emission line coronagraph we want to analyze visible rays. Likewise, after visible rays we have ultraviolet and X-rays. So to analyze X-rays, we'll try to break the X-rays into spectrum, and then we'll have two types of X-ray spectrometers. What are these? This is first one, Solex, and this is second one, Helios. Hell 1 OS, whatever you can say. So people just answer me, have we read about hard and soft X-rays in the first lecture? I'll explain it here also. Can you tell the difference between hard and soft X-rays? First of all, tell me, have you heard about sunspot cycles? Have you heard about the variation in the light coming out of the sun, people? Have you heard about all of this? So till then, let us explain. Now in X-rays also there are two types of X-rays. One is high frequency, this manner. One is low frequency. So the low frequency with low energy waves, these are called as X-rays. But these are sort of compacting into you, bombarding you sort of very in a very fast manner. They move very fast. They're individual waves. So that is why these are called as hard X-rays. And that we had heard, that we had studied during studying of exposat also. In exposat also, now look at the similarity between exposat and this Aditya L1. Both of them, exposat also has has two instruments, hard and soft X-rays, and this Aditya L1 also has two instruments, hard and the soft X-rays. So this is the idea here. So we'll try to analyze all of these. Now, as I had explained, as I had asked in the comments, to tell you that why we are analyzing the visible light, why we are analyzing the X-rays, or why we want to study the ultraviolet rays with respect to the this here, because we want to understand that what type of rays does a star of the size of the sun is a medium sized star, what rays does the star emit from it? From these rays we'll try to analyze that how do we observe other systems around the universe. In other Milky Way's galaxy also, there might be such systems of such stars around the size of the sun, around which some planets might be orbiting, and around these planets, some of these, are very few of these in the entire universe, they might be habitable in nature, having similar conditions, size of sun, size of earth, habitability, all of that we can study from this type of experiments. That what is the condition for habitability further? Can we find another solar system or a twin of solar system in the universe? This is what we want to try here, understand here. So Amod, very nice. Sunspots are dark spots. They are cooler surface region. What happens in sunspots basically? Now we'll understand it in slight detail, because this is mentioned in your geography also. This is common. This is what we need to understand. So this is sun. And now what will happen on the surface? There are spots which do cover up, which do come up from time to time. Now there is indication that this might be because of the electromagnetic waves and the entanglement. There are indications, but we are not sure what is the reason till now, exact reasons. So what happens? There are these spots. Now light coming out of it decreases. So what happens? There becomes cooler. But after some point of time, what will happen? The sunspots will reduce. We'll have less sunspots. Now there will be huge light coming out of it. Now Earth, already a victim of global warming, people. है ना? You might be aware about global warming. What is global warming? What is the role of CO2 in increasing global warming? A very simple question. Sizan, can you answer it? Sizan Ajay, can you answer it? What is the role of carbon dioxide in global warming? Till then, I'll explain. The increasing temperature, already sunspots will reduce. That means temperature further about to rise because of these. And then we'll have a huge problem. Why? Because this can impact the earth. We can have hellish atmospheres now in the earth also, just like Venus. And how will the life survive then? How will the life survive here? That's the answer. That's the dilemma here. And apart from that, there is also the structure of the sun. Around the sun, there's a huge mystery around the sun. Acha, tell me, in my first few lectures also, I had explained it, but I'll again explain it. Look, what happens? There's a star. Now, in this star, there is gravity, huge mass is there. So there will be huge pressure on it. And when there is huge pressure on it, the atoms, they'll have to stick to each other. So that's why what they'll do, they'll react. In this pressure, they'll react. And when in this pressure they'll react, they'll have fusion. So similar fusion happens in our dear sun also, hydrogen and helium, hydrogen atoms. they have interaction, they form helium, and then this goes on to forming higher elements. So we have fusion, which what it will try to do, there is fusion, that means, and nuclear fusion is there. These are radioactive materials, nuclear fusion. It will suddenly at nuclear level, nucleuses are interacting. This will suddenly collapse. So that's why this will pull energy outwards. Now, when it will pull energy outwards, what do you understand from common logic, people? Raj Kishore, are you able to understand from common logic that if we have fusion here and if we have suddenly exploding here, energy at the center of the mass, then what should happen? The temperature, as we go from core to the surface, that should reduce, है ना? That should reduce. But what is happening here? There is an anomaly. At the surface of the sun, we have around 6,000 degrees of temperature Celsius, but there are some rays coming out of it. Again, they are electromagnetic in nature. There is a formation of the beautiful crown around the sun. That's a beautiful crown. And that was the problem during coronavirus. That's why corona. In coronavirus, also similar corona. That is why sun's corona is also called as corona, and virus's corona is also called as corona. But nevertheless, corona means crown. This is the crown it is wearing. And at this crown, people, there is highest temperature here. It reaches to millions of degrees Celsius. And till today, we don't know the exact reason of it. What is the exact reason which leads to such higher temperatures? And this is the anomaly, this is the mystery of the sun, as scientists also called it, which we want to study here, which we want to further study, that why exactly this happens. Why exactly in corona is there too much entanglement of electromagnetic waves? Is there burst of energy from the surface of the sun? Or there is some other mystery also which we are not aware of, that we want to understand. And here your Aditya L1 will help you understand it. Why? Because it is trying to analyze the solar wind coming out of it. Firstly, if we analyze the solar wind, then what we'll do, we'll try to understand the temperatures, what happens here, wind suddenly comes out of from the sun, and then there are these solar storms. At time to time, there are solar storms, and there is an indication that some of these solar storms can hugely damage the atmosphere of the earth. All the satellites roaming around the earth, they can be hugely impacted from solar winds, and suddenly the functioning of it will be impacted. And just a few years ago, there was this incident with Elon Musk satellite. People, you might be aware of Elon Musk. He is developing Starlink network of satellites. So these satellites were impacted hugely in just one incident. And that's why we are trying to study solar storms from such wind experiments like aspects. And then we want to analyze the plasma, the charged particles, because in the same wind which is coming out of the solar storm, people, there are charged particles. These are high energy. There is high energy here. So particles are often charged inside the gas because they go from lower energy to higher energy levels. They are charged, and then they also release energy after going downwards, after interacting in the rest of the solar system. So that's why we have one phenomena on earth related to it. If you can answer, Gopi, what is the phenomena when the sun's such charged particles reach into the north and south poles atmosphere of the earth? Gopi or Rajkishore, can you answer it? What is that phenomena called in the north pole and the south pole? Till then, we'll come back. So what is here? We are trying to analyze such winds, such charged particles, and also through such direct observing of the sun by visible light, ultraviolet light, X-rays, again X-rays. What we are trying to ensure, we are trying to observe the temperatures of the sun at different services. So this was the Aditya L1 mission, people. Were you able to understand what I had mentioned? If you have any doubts in any of these concepts, you can mention in the comment boxes. I'll further explain it. What are all these? Because these are important concepts, Very nice, Sumaya. So when the sun's charged particles, when solar wind interacts with our atmospheric particles, in the atmosphere of the North Pole and South Pole, then auroras are generated. You will further read it in geography, people. What are auroras? At North Pole, what we call it? Aurora borealis. At the South Pole, we call it Aurora australis. Australis. Yes, yes, yes. Solar flares. Yes. So Gopi, so is there any doubt in the solar flares? So what happens? I'll explain. Sun has there is constant amount of energy coming out of the sun, but what happens time to time from inside of the surface of the sun, suddenly there is a release of huge bursts of energy which even pass the corona, and these bursts are of such nature that they reach to the end of the solar system, crossing the earth, even Jupiter, and so on and so forth. They impact the entire heliosphere. That means the sphere, till the energy of the helion, till the energy of the sun persists, till that entire sphere, the solar sphere, solar flares are impacting. What do we call this? In common language, what do we call as flare? What used to happen? You might remember the European dresses, of women. What used to be there? There used to be this thin structure here. These are arms, suppose. Please don't mind my drawing. But then there used to be flaring gown. This is called as flare. That means sudden burst of something. So this is called as solar flares. This happens from time to time from within the surface of the sun, and these are slightly different than the storms also. Storms also have controlled energy to some extent, but flares are often called to be as more dangerous. There's just a difference of degree. So that's there. The cause might be similar, but then again, difference of degree here. So this happens, and that is why this entire atmosphere, even even Earth's satellites can be impacted, and that is what we want to study. So this was about solar flares, Gopi. Let's move forward. So let's move forward to next article. This is by Upendra Bakshi. He's a great luminary again. So he is writing about artificial intelligence. Now, breaking these terms, artificial and intelligence. Do tell me in the comment boxes, people, what is the meaning of artificial intelligence? The most common examples of artificial intelligence, do tell me in the comment boxes. Any examples coming to your mind, people? I'm aware many of us might be using those examples also. Thank you, Gopi. Still, Gopi, just explain what are the most common examples of artificial intelligence you might have seen in your, in your daily life. What might be using, because AI is impacting the globe around. I mean, AI is impacting around the world, the lives of the people. It has transformed. But what the writer is trying to say here is that, look, there are two types of uses of AI. Bard, very nice. Bard, Chat GPT, very good. There is launch of Gemini by Google. So Bard, Chat GPT, in competition to Chat GPT, there is launch of Gemini. There are multiple applications of AI. AI can now make presentations, PowerPoint presentations, make content for you. AI may help you in creative writing. There's creative writing coach of Chat GPT also. AI can create images. Look, Bard creates images of a dog playing a violin and so on and so forth. You can really enjoy yourself by that. And then, the Dell E model of Chat GPT also creates. So it can do whatever, it can have intelligence of its own. Any artificial system having an intelligence of its own. Yes, very nice examples are coming up. That is called as artificial intelligence. Artificial system, not human, robots, machines, algorithms, they can have intelligence of their own. How do they develop this intelligence? They develop intelligence, they have cognitive abilities, they can understand. They are not just feeded to reproduce. Like if I tell a robot, like suppose there is a computer, that system feeded here, 5 plus 7 equals to 12. This is not AI. But if I give a completely new model, suppose I give 4 pages of a book to Chat GPT and say to it, hey Chat GPT, summarize this for me. And even if Chat GPT has not seen these pages earlier in its feeded algorithm, still, because through its algorithm, it is trained in such a manner, that it has developed some basic cognitive abilities. And through those cognitive abilities, it will be easily able to develop a summary of it around half page, 4 lines, 2 lines, whatever you say to it. It will still be able to develop a summary of it through its cognition. This is originality, just like humans. And this is what is called as artificial intelligence, people. Now, in the context of artificial intelligence, what the writer mentioned here, people, the writer mentioned here that look, there is this use of AI. There can be multiple ways of use of AI. So there can be ways just like Europe uses it. There is huge development of data. There is technology. MNCs are there. Europe is a developed region, global north. So but they do not practice complete sovereignty over AI. They try to have proper regulations here for protection of their digital systems, like for protection of data. They have general digital protection regime, GDPR rules are there, from whom the B and Sri Krishna committee also had taken some lessons. But there is another model here which is causing problematic, because here in this another China type model, what is happening, the use of technology in China, it is, the author is saying that it is very exploitative in nature. It is very centralized, corrupt. The state sponsored use of such technology happens. The data is centralized. To train the algorithm of AI, you need the data, you need constant repetitions, multiple varieties of data. So, what happens here? All the data is centralized here, and then through the use of AI, you are trying to promote a surveillance type of state. Now, in this, if I have cameras which can analyze the images with the help of AI, where can I use these? Any applications, people, of cameras? Suppose there are these cameras watching you around the road, around the airport, outside your electoral constituency, and these cameras have AI integrated into them. Now, just tell me, how can these be misused by the state? By a state like China. Just tell me a few examples, people. I have full faith in you, people. At least one good example will definitely come out of it. I'm very sure of it. So, this is the type of model which the writer is saying that we should avoid it. There should be difference between territorial sovereignty, matlab sovereignty of a country. Territorial means sovereignty of a country over a particular territory. But there should also be difference between digital sovereignty. Why? Because digital sovereignty is a different aspect. You cannot club these two, otherwise, the state will have huge powers. Traffic signals, very nice. What will happen in traffic signals, people? They'll analyze. There will be no privacy. What car you are using, with which person you are going, the state can crack down on you. You are roaming with a particular person of a particular religion. Let me tell you, this is the type of threats here. Likewise, at airport, no privacy. The government will know where do you go, with whom do you go, what do you do, what food do you eat from the cameras, restaurants and traffic signals, and so on and so forth. And then AI can also have wrong outcomes. Suppose the algorithm of the AI is made with the help of upper caste people or with the help of white people, then it will have some biases. Maybe during its making, it can be told, hey, there is a difference between white and black people. Hey, there is a difference between upper caste and lower caste people. So, what it will do, when it will analyze the traffic signal images or any such images of people, it will say, it will give outcomes that black people or people from lower castes, they'll be implicated more, that they are criminals. It can give wrong outcomes. And in those wrong outcomes, whom do you blame? The people who have made the algorithm, because there might be multiple people involved here, multiple firms. How do you lay the accountability here? This is the problem, apart from state surveillance, which is there in your AI. So that's what it is being said. Hey, let's not merge digital sovereignty and the sovereignty of the state. Now there are multiple types of applications of AI. We'll just try to see them in a generic way, so that if there is asked about AI, about the potential of AI in your mains exam, at least you can mention some points. Like out of these, even if you mention 4 or 5, that might be sufficient. Multiple applications in different areas, people. Like in manufacturing, you might be knowing, the factory, the industrialist, he should know, he should be able to understand from huge amounts of data that why do we need to decrease the supply here. If I'm producing 100 or 200 biscuits, why do I want to go it to 50 now? Will the supply decrease or increase in future? The demand of people, will it increase or decrease in future? So these type of analysis can be easily done by AI, even replacing the humans. And that is also one of the concerns of AI, people. Why? Because look, this is so advanced. Even some humans, like 5 humans, they can miss out doing this analysis. But we are training the AI to this level, and AI is considered to be less lazy compared to humans. Although I'm guaranteeing it that as and when the AI will, become more advanced, it also faces hallucinations just like humans have, and it has the same problems. Creative models of ChatGPT have same problems just like humans. But for the sake of analysis, look, AI is becoming more advanced than humans. Then, other than having in supportive mode as AI, like supporting a judge for finding the judgments, it can also one day, apart from reimagining the processes, it can one day replace the humans also. And this is a real fear. Even ILO, International Labor Organization, some years back had said that in this decade of 2020 to 2030, around half of the jobs will be reorganized, being impacted by technology like AI, ML, and other than that, data science and all of that. So this is the potential here. And then, so AI replaces humans, particularly in hazardous situations. It becomes important to replace the humans. Have you heard of Bandicoot, people? This was in news a lot of time back. Bandicoot of Kerala, people, any answers? Gopi, deepfake is slightly different. Deepfake is often done by private agencies. As you might have heard the case of Rashmika Mandana in recent times. She was a victim, and apart from that, other celebrities also are being a victim of deepfake. When your photos are taken from the internet, random photos, random media, and then they are somehow replaced by the AI to other photos of people, other videos, manipulating, trying to show you in a wrong manner. And this can be highly problematic because this can replace the truth itself on the internet going into the future. You will not be able to understand, people, what is true, what are true pictures, what are fake pictures. So how will you then your entire evidence will be nullified. Suppose in a court there is going off some video submission, there someone says this is created by deepfake, this is not me. So this is the problem here. Truth and post truth era, this is the issue here. But coming back, people, Bandicoot of Kerala, people, any answers? What was Bandicoot robot about? So this is the idea. Apart from that, also it can help. Suppose a bank has to give out the loans. The bank can analyze whether this person will turn into a non-performing asset, whether this loan will be turning into a non-performing asset. How do I analyze? Again, analysis of huge data, of conditions, of past, looking at past, predicting the future. And then again, this is about financial services. Likewise, forecasting in energy, understanding delivery systems, having scientific research assisted by AI. AI can predict what kind of test will go wrong, what kind of test can go right. Yes, Sandeep, very nice, good answer. Robot scavenger for sewerages. Look, there was hazardous situation, people going into manholes to clean the sewers. Now, instead of this, we are having a robot here to clean the sewers. Likewise, on these lines, on border, at India-China border, what both India and China are trying, particularly China, it is trying to develop soldiers with the help of AI. There were some random reports here, but let us imagine an imaginary situation because this is not that developed right now. Let's look at border. India-China border, you can have robots, you can have AI at places where humans can't go, high altitude areas for patrolling. And this is the danger. If AI is used in defense, then If AI fires upon someone, kills someone, throws a bomb, then who do you implicate? The person making algorithm, the person controlling that AI from the monitoring room, or someone else? And how do you prevent war if the programming of such robots is in such a manner that they are not having a consciousness of a peace-based mindset at all? This is the idea, this is the issues with respect to AI people. Likewise, in governance also there is multiple data, multiple decisions need to be taken. So in all those spheres where decisions are to be taken, for example, I am a farmer. I want to understand as per weather conditions, as per the rainfall which has happened till now, as per the resources I have available, the income which I have available, what type of seeds should I grow to maximize my profit? And I can delegate this to AI that, hey, AI, take a decision for me here. Suggest me something. And AI will do that. Likewise, I can integrate my AI into my drone, which is sprinkling water on the field. Now, this drone will analyze through the help of remote sensing, just like our satellites do, that hey, where water is less. And it will take a decision on its own to sprinkle more water on a certain patch rather than a certain patch where already there is water. So these type of applications are possible going forward with the AI. Now, in this, along with the applications, people, we have already seen the concerns of surveillance, first of all, the concerns of deep fakes we saw, the concerns of truth being manipulated through the deep fakes, the concern of putting robots in hazardous situation. There is also concern that how do you develop this much of data to have such an AI model? All these type of concerns are there. But there might have been some steps taken by the government, right, to promote AI, because what India wants to do, India doesn't want to completely ban the use of AI. We are having balance in context of promoting AI, as also declared in the Delhi Declaration. Just some time back, there was this Delhi Declaration where there was this global summit on AI. And in that, we also said that there should be a balance in the use of these technologies. So, on these lines, now what happens, people, whenever there is a new technology, what do you think could be the steps which could be taken to promote technology? Remember it, whenever there's a new technology, in that, now whenever you have to promote this technology through the help of government, there are multiple aspects of it. How did this technology will become successful? There are multiple aspects. First is there is need of money, funds. पैसे के बिना कुछ नहीं होता बॉस आज के टाइम में. This is there. Then there is need for promotion of such research into such technologies so that we could understand where do we go. Then there is need for collaboration with the private sector. Today, there can't be any step taken without the private sector because the funds of the governments are becoming limited. We are turning more capitalist, right? Rather than socialist. Now there is need for policies also. Policies, missions for AI or for any technology. Dedicated policy so that we don't go haywire. ऐसे ही randomly अंधेरे में तीर नहीं चला रहे. Proper dedicated policies, if they are there, then it helps further. So that is the idea. Now, apart from that, what is the idea here? Then there is also need for having test based beds, matlab test, matlab where you can develop these new technologies through funding and research. But before rollout of them in the market, how do you test these type of technologies? For that's why you need such simulation based environment, people. So, Gopi, Sandeep, are you able to understand what I am explaining here? Amod, are you able to understand the analysis here? So, all these type of efforts are needed, and this is what the government has done. First of all, there needs to be a proper thinking on this. And what is the thinking mindset? What is the thinking institution for India? The thinking institution for India is a Niti Aayog. That is why Niti Aayog released its national AI strategy, utilizing artificial intelligence in health, education, agriculture, smart cities, mobility. Look, all these are the crucial development areas for the country, people. Now tell me any application of AI in mobility. Can you tell any company or any application of AI in mobility? Any company or any name of such of such models? anything you can mention with regard to use of AI in the mobility sector, transportation, movement of people. Just tell me. There are beautiful examples here. Then after that, Niti Aayog, what it has said, it will have two types of institutional structure. One is research in core technologies of AI. Core technologies, core sectors in India, manufacturing, these type of important sectors. One is promoting research there, and the other is ICTAI, means international collaboration, because the developed countries, the MNCs of North, they have hugely advanced in such type of technology. So that's why they are also advanced in terms of software, although the most of software personnel is provided by Indians, but still they are advanced. So we'll have international collaboration for further movement. And on these lines, we are already taking some steps, people. What are these type of steps? Firstly, we'll have National Research Foundation, which was announced in budget 2019-20 for the AI research. Then for international collaboration, India is already having some steps, like we had collaboration with the IBM for weather forecasting. Now, why we have this weather forecasting as a priority, people? You might be aware about monsoon. प्रांजल, आप जानते हो मॉनसून कितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है. दैट इज वाई वी आर हैविंग यूज ऑफ AI by collaborating with IBM in this sphere, so that we can understand. Now, apart from the present models of IMD, we can understand through the help of AI also what is the exact forecast. Now, will there be impact of El Nino this year? Or what will be the impact? Will it be stronger or lesser? How much rain will occur this year? So that we can easily we can issue the guideline to farmers. You have to, take these steps. You have to sow at this point of time, or provide data to policymakers that look, this year there will be a drought year, or this year impact of global warming is too much, temperatures are too much. So you need to take these steps. Growth will be impacted in this manner. So now take these type of steps. So this is what we'll do with the help of IBM, and this is what government will do in case of IBM. And with regards to research, we have seen Niti Aayog strategy. With regard to funding, we have seen there is this funding, National Research Foundation as a funding center. Now what will happen? There will be centers for development of such technologies. So there is this center for catalyzation, like National AI Center. We'll also have Center of Excellence by National Informatics Center, people. You don't worry if this is not that easily visible to you. I share this PDFs with you on the Telegram channel Civilsdaily IAS after the program. And then for further getting this Telegram channel and for this PPT, you can also fill the form below. Don't worry. So that is there. Then there is National Artificial Intelligence Mission. Look, we saw policies and missions are important. So we have on these lines this mission of 1,200 crore rupees. And then we also have collaboration with the private sector, apart from the test beds for simulation of technology, PPPs, in the national AI mission, in the national AI strategy itself. There is component of PPP because the government cannot do it alone. And anyways, we are collaborating, as we have seen, with IBM also. We are collaborating with Microsoft in context of smart agriculture. We just saw what was smart agriculture: drones, utilization, taking decisions, seeds. So no answers have come up regarding transport and mobility. So I'll just tell, there are these driverless cars which are coming up. You can easily travel from your home to office without without any work. You can read your newspapers. If you are an aspirant and you are still working somewhere, you can also do some other stuff. Work, focus on work while you are driving, and then the driving will be done by the robot. So these are called as driverless cars. And there is this Tesla model of Elon Musk which has come up regarding driverless cars. So there is this entire application here, and driverless cars do remain in news, because if an accident is done by driverless car, then who will be responsible, and how will we prevent right to life of people? So this is another area of discussion here. So, as friends, any doubts, any feedback you want to give to us for this initiative, you can further give in the comment boxes. We'll try to incorporate further. for the benefit of the students. So let's move to the next article about Enforcement Directorate and Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, this has been developing from a lot of time. First, Manoj Sisodia was arrested. Then Kejriwal was, issued orders by the EDI summoned. But then Kejriwal went to Vipassana Center for meditation. Now it is there that look, Kejriwal is not complying to ED summoning orders. Now, what can be the way forward here? The article is about that, but we will broaden the theme for our exam. But let's look what the article is trying to say first of all. So, what it is trying to say that look, the law has penalty, and the as per section 174 Indian Penal Code, there could be punishments if someone is not complying. If under section 63 2C of PMLA, if someone refuses to respect the summon, he shall by way of penalty, this will be penalty and they can also be punished. And now ED can take the route of section 174 of IPC because Kejriwal has not complied to section 63 clause 2 of PMLA of mandatorily reporting to the ED, coming to the ED when he summoned. So he can now be implicated by way of section 174 of IPC, and ED can register a fresh case that this person is not complying to our orders, and a non-bailable warrant can also be issued by the ED that you have to come up and then you'll be arrested and there will be a non-bailable warrant in your name. So this is the implication here. But first we have to understand how did the matters reach to this point, not the original case of corruption in liquor policy. That's not the issue of discussion. The discussion is how has been the Prevention of Money Laundering Act that had been enforced or that has been strengthened to the extent that it can even implicate the political actors here. That is what we need to understand, people. So there have been amendments. What was the year of formation of Prevention of Money Laundering Act, people? When was the Prevention of Money Laundering Act enacted, people? Any answers? I want everyone to interact. Sandeep, Pranjal, Gopi, Ekansh, any of you can just answer. When was the PMLA enacted? What was the year? Till then answers come up, I'll explain what is the reason. Look, what happened around the globe. 80s, 1980s was the time period when there was about to happen a huge wave of globalization. People traveling was there, and then there was this Afghanistan war which was happening. So terrorists were getting a lot of funding, and all of this was happening through money laundering. That means, what is money laundering? You have committed some crime, drug trafficking, human trafficking, kidnapping, ransom, any type of organized crime. And now you are trying to to launder the proceeds of this money coming out of coming out of crime. You are trying to launder this tainted money into white money. This is called as money laundering. Just like you wash your laundry at your home, removing the stains and again turning the clothes into white, just like that, in crimes, the proceeds of crime, the tainted money, you are trying to wash it off by transferring that money into multiple layers outside of your country, outside of India, without being detected by agencies. So there will be transfers through Hawala, through main banking channels, through distribution of that money, suppose 1,000 rupees into one rupee coins, so that it is not detected anyhow. And then finally, all of this laundering, they change a lot of hands so that authorities do not detect it. And then finally, after it, this money is again integrated. This money again comes back to your banking system in India, and then you are able to utilize it as white money. You are able to show that, look, government, I have earned this money through legitimate means, selling of painting, this business, that business, any such type of, just curtains to hide the original source, and then you can utilize that money easily. Otherwise, what will happen? You will keep on, struggling because that much of cash now not allowed in economy, you can't handle. So all of this was happening, and that's why around the globe there were debates. Now, why we are discussing these principles? Because this can be asked in your prelims exam sometimes. For example, there was this United Nations Convention against illicit trafficking in narcotic drugs, because drugs was becoming an issue because of Afghanistan in 1980s. Then we had Basel Statement of Principles. At Basel, we have the headquarters of which authority? We have headquarters of Financial Stability Board. So there, yes, people are answering right. PMLA was enacted in 2002. So now you might be understanding, Financial Action Task Force also gave its recommendation regarding money laundering. And then in United Nations, finally everyone decided in General Assembly to have a declaration in 1990. And then based on that, India realized that look, we also need to have such provisions of money laundering. Otherwise, we'll fall back. Otherwise, India will become the hub of such type of activities. And that's why in 2002, we had this law where we gave power to enforcement directorate. Now enforcement directorate, please remember for your prelims people, this functions under the Department of Revenue Intelligence. Just tell in the comments what is the ministry related to Department of Revenue Intelligence, people. The ministry here, I just want the ministry, nothing else. Where does this function? Where does this located? Department of Revenue Intelligence. Just try to apply your mind. Revenue intelligence. So this body was functioning since 1956, but we told this body, hey ED, now you have to look after money laundering. How do you look after? You will have a schedule here. In this, you define the offenses, that the proceeds coming out of, let's say, kidnapping, human trafficking, drug trafficking, all these activities will be counted as money laundering if this is proven that the money is coming out of these. Such type of people, they'll be punished for these crimes, for these type of crimes, but they'll also be punished for money laundering itself. So what will the ED do? ED will go, they'll attach all their property which they have acquired through the proceeds of such crime. And then they'll further appeal to the tribunals further. Proceedings will go on and these people will be convicted. And there is an entire process here. So here, what is happening now? There is prosecution here. There are provisions for prosecution. Ministry of Finance, yes, Gopi, right? Department of Revenue Intelligence functions under the Ministry of Finance. But do tell me, can you just prevent a crime by punishment, just by punishing someone? You also need to prevent a crime by having some guidelines. And PMLA is also having such guidelines, people do remember. Guidelines for whom? Now, how will you send the money outside in today's time? It has to go to the banks. So there are guidelines for financial entities, people. There are guidelines that you are the reporting entities. If you find any suspicious transactions, you have to report them to the authorities. These are the guidelines. Likewise, there are guidelines for professionals, that for professionals like real estate agents, for professionals like diamond traders, that look, if you find any such transaction, someone trying to do transaction with you, which you find this is money laundering, you will have to mandatorily report it. Otherwise, you will face the punishment. So this is the beauty of this act, that this is what it is trying to do. Now, in that, there were some changes because there are guidelines, there are definitions. So there was definitions also with regard to the fact that who is eligible for punishment, who are the people who can be punished. Common people like doing money laundering, caught in money laundering, criminals are there, but there might be other sections also. And in that, there were some significant changes which the PMLA had introduced. So what the PMLA had introduced in 2022 and 2023, it had said that look, politically exposed persons, those people who are occupying a public office, they have to comply with the RBI and older circular of RBI, and they have to report and they have to follow the standards. Otherwise, they can be implicated. And that is why people like Manoj Sisodia, Kejriwal can be implicated, because these are also politically exposed persons. And in the recent amendments, it had also come up that you can also implicate the people belonging to the political party and not just the party itself. And this is the logic that why these people can be implicated. Apart from that, because this is an important provision, this is important for your exam, no matter how boring it sounds to you. But because this has been recent one, So it can be asked in a way that what have been the recent changes in the PMLA, or rather how the PMLA is being used as a weapon, or is there any criticism related to PMLA? So in all those points you can mention it. That is why I have to mandatorily teach it to you people. Look, so that's why this was the recent amendment. Now another amendment, that they disclosed, they had more norms for NGO. That look, you, if you are dealing with financial institutions, banking companies, intermediaries, any of these, you have to have provide more disclosures to these, and these will then provide disclosures to governments. Then there are other professionals also included. If you are taking help of any chartered accountant, CA, company secretary for any PMLA for money laundering, these people are now coming under the ambit of the act. They will be punishable if they don't report it. So those who are managing the financial transactions for clients, like property, like securities, like managing of accounts, like such operations, they will have to report to the government, because they also now come under the ambit of the act. And apart from that, there is expansion of reporting entities further to non-banking entities also. Why? Because these NBFC, like Aditya Birla, they provide housing loans. Like this institution, they provide finance. They also provide loans. So through the help of money laundering, they can take use of some loan, and they can help in money laundering. So apart from bank, now these NBFCs are also coming under ambit of PMLA, and they have to mandatorily verify the customer through the help of Aadhaar, so that these type of activities can be stopped up. So all these you have to logically remember, people. No need to remember it by ratifying, just logically remember it, that there is this accountants, reporting entities, and other than that, disclosures of NGOs, which is primarily the target of the latest amendments, and that is what it has been into news. So next is urbanization, people. Before that, try to enlighten me, people. Where does urbanization lie in your syllabus? I had already explained it. Sumaya, Gopi, Amod, Sandeep, any of you can answer. Where does urbanization exactly lie in your syllabus, GS1, GS2 syllabus? So this is the idea. But before that, I'll just briefly explain it about the about the article. So what this is saying, there has been a formation of an urban commission in Kerala. Kerala, people, you might be already aware, they are 73rd, 74th constitutional amendments. Kerala municipalities, they are already strong. So in that context, now they are having an urban commission for proper planning into urban areas, because around 90% of people in Kerala have witnessed urbanization. That means 90% urbanization, 90% people living into urban areas. So for that, we need for proper planning, and for now improving the amenities into urban areas, we need an urban commission. And here, what the writer is saying, that look, our policies were very haphazard regarding urbanization from independence time. We were not focusing on development of slums. I had also explained it yesterday or day before yesterday. How have the policies been changed as per the Rajya Sabha debates? So Gopi, Amod, do you remember what did I thought at that point of time? Just few days back, I had thought something related to this, so that the policy, debate has changed. So in that context now, because the policy debate has changed, GS1, Gopi, which line of GS1 issues related to what? That is the, that's what I want to ask. So in this, so this is there, that now what is the author saying, that look, there are mention of some schemes here, that we have Swachh Bharat Mission. We'll see how it is related to organization. We have Amrit, we have Hriday, we have Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, but all of them are different schemes, disparate attempts. We'll understand all of these in small, just in brief, so that you can leave this discussion on time and study. But at least what they are saying is that other than this, there is needs to be a collaborated approach like Kerala on urban commission. So this is one pointer related to you in any question asked related to urbanization. So that is there. Now about these schemes. Now about these schemes, let us learn. There is this urban area, suppose having high-rise buildings and then having some slums also. There is huge, problem of waste disposal in urban areas. They are disposed on wetlands, near the lakes, and then there will be floods here because the drains are choked and so on and so forth. So dispose of the waste. Swachh Bharat mission will help here. To deal with these slums, we'll try to provide pakka housing to everyone through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. To ensure that all of this people are not encroaching on important property, like heritage, the heritage of the city is not destroyed, old monuments. So that is why to preserve and to collaborate the urbanization with your heritage conservation, what we are having Hriday scheme, people. This is regarding heritage, but just remember this is also with the Ministry of Urban Development only. And then Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is also related with the Ministry of Urban Development. Now you have to tell me, people, what is Amrit scheme about? What do you mean by Amrit scheme? One major objective of Amrit scheme. Just tell me how it is different than smart cities mission. Smart cities, you can understand, will try to incorporate technology, will try to make the city more smart, will try to develop patches of some city, completely overhauling them, and these cities will be competing for funds into the smart cities mission. So various 100 cities are developed as smart cities. All of that is fine, but do tell me first the objective of Amrit. What does Amrit do and how it is different than Smart Cities Mission? I think Amod is good in studies, so he'll be able to tell. Gopi, just tell what is the difference between Amrit and Smart Cities Mission. So till then, let us look at the just a little bit about article here. That is higher education out of touch with skill requirements in the job market. Now, people, there were multiple arguments here. One writer was saying, one host, one guest was saying that yes, higher education is related to skills because in India we lack industry academia partnership. The universities do not teach the latest industry relevant skills, but the other writer is also saying that look, availability of jobs is overall also less. Now, I had told you that in India, manufacturing sector is very less in proportion, people. We have growth in service sector, and service sector does not absorb that much of jobs. So that is why what we are having problems here, and that's why we are having less number of jobs. So all of that along with skill development. So this article is trying to connect these two, but I'll teach it further. Once any development with respect to government comes up about some skill development, once we have a certain concrete development, so we'll look at all the initiatives with respect to skill development in one day so that you people waste less time again and again, people. So about the difference, because no answers are coming up, no one is typing. So I'll just explain. Look, Amrit, what is it about? It is about basic facilities. Look, we discussed this is the slum. Now in slum, there will be problem of water. There will be problem of school, multiple problems, unauthorized colonies. These are so cities have multiple such problems, high population pressure. So we'll try to provide all these basic facilities here to the people living into cities compared to smart cities, which will focus just on patches of development of high class, smart, intelligent cities for the purpose that, this is how urbanization should approach in the future. So this is the difference here between the two. One focusing on basic amenities and one focusing on making the cities overall smart. First a few and then trying to roll out for all of them. So today, people, we discussed about Aditya L1, we discussed about AI, we discussed about PMLA, we discussed about Urban Commission, we discussed about education and skills. And because I had already some of these, like education and skill development, like the other, I had already explained it in the yesterday's session, the 4th of January. So you can see that session also further. And you can fill in the form below for connecting with me. Because based on the details, I'll call up a few people and then I'll discuss my current affairs strategy with them for UPSC 2024. And any doubts after this session also ends, you can ask any doubts with me with regard to what is being taught or whatever you have might read in either Hindu or Indian Express newspapers in the comment sections. So I regularly look at the comment sections. You can leave your comments in the comment section and I'll be able to answer it in the sections itself or in the news streaks for the next time. So we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you very much, people, for being here for an hour. And thank you for spending your time with us. And thank you for trusting us. Thank you. I'll just switch off.